Palladium fans. We're here with Sean to talk about TMNT Redux. It's out. It's available. It is shipping to. It has shipped by the time this released. It will have shipped to backers. It will be available for order on the Palladium website. But Sean, thank you for joining us.
Yeah, we're really excited. It's shipping out to backers in waves, including European backers. So we're using a professional pick and pack company because it's so much that we can't even do it all out of the Palladium warehouse. But also, they're helping us nail down some fantastic shipping rates. We had one of our fans actually messaged in and said, "Hey, at first I was annoyed with the cost of the shipping, but then when he realized how big the books were." 272 pages and two for the first book and 256 for the second book. He was like, "Oh, okay. I think I got a good deal on shipping."
Yeah.
So when you see the books, it's not like an old Palladium book. They're big and chunky and thick because of the very high quality paper stock they were printed on in full color. So I hope everybody's really happy with it. We work really hard. We do our best to keep the shipping costs as low as we can, and so I'm just happy everything's getting out to the fans. And yeah, by the time you see this, check the Palladium Books website. We should be able to get you some orders, hopefully maybe even in time for Christmas. So
my pre-order, I didn't get it on the Kickstarter, but I got it in the Backer Kit pre-order store. So I'm just waiting for my shipping notice because I plan to do a big review of the books on my channel when it comes out. I got to talk with and that interview should go live before yours. I got to talk with Sophie Campbell about.
Oh, Sophie's awesome.
Yeah, just wonderful person. Loved talking with her. She's so excited about TMNT and everything that was involved in the book and everything that she got to do on that. So, well, let's talk about it. Like, first of all, massive Kickstarter success, right? $1 million for any company is a big deal.
Yeah, we did about 1 point. I mean, it's a little higher, but we did about 1.2 million.
Yeah.
And on the Kickstarter, and then with Backer Kit pre-orders, I don't know the final numbers, but I think it was another about $250,000 worth of pre-orders, which is all people like you are shipping at the same time as the backers. Yeah, so this was kind of crazy, and I think last time we talked about how when I joined Kevin at Palladium, this was number one thing on my radar. Because so many fans ask me about it, and it's the number one thing that fans asked me and Kevin about was bringing back the Ninja Turtles. But it was also the first role-playing game I ever owned, and it started the whole track of me being a super. I would say my RPG core was always Palladium. It was Turtles. Then we got into I did some Ninjas and Super Spies, Heroes Unlimited, but it was all kind of like, what can I add to the Turtles, Maloo, and then Riffs. And I also got into Macross 2 a little while later as well because I missed all the Robotech craze and the books, but Macross 2 was perfect for me to get in there. But yeah, no, for me it's been a labor of love, and it's been something really exciting to work with Paramount, and also the excitement from Kevin Eastman and Peter Laird, the original Ninja Turtles creators, was fantastic. We heard, apparently they found out we were talking to Paramount through the grapevine, and they were really excited to work with Kevin Simbita again. Many people don't know the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and Other Strangeness RPG. It was the very first licensed product for the Ninja Turtles before there were toys or cartoons or movies or anything, or lunchboxes and T-shirts and all that jazz. So yeah, it holds a special place in my heart, and I know Kevin's heart. And also with this Redux, I'm glad to be able to bring back one of the, I don't know, the greatest maybe creation by Eric Wujcik back for a new generation to see and experience, and so
what I'm most excited about getting it to my table is the one thing that my players. So I run a couple of Palladium games, and we did a little bit of Heroes Unlimited, and they
Right.
loved the random tables. And I'm like, wait till we get to Ninja Turtles, because once you get to Ninja Turtles, you're not even gonna know what to do with yourself. You're gonna put the dice in, and you're gonna get this cool mutant animal out the other
Oh,
side. It's gonna be amazing.
it's killer. We were showing off. We had some preview copies of the books from the first ones off the print run. I mean, they printed so many thousands of books. It took a
Oh yeah,
while. And um, but we were showing it to some people at a trade show shortly after Gen Con, and oh my gosh, this guy, he and his wife own a comic book shop, and he's like, what is this? I love the Ninja Turtles. This is awesome. And apparently he played some Palladium games back in the day. I don't know if it was Rifts back when he was in high school or something, but he he and his wife just threw down the percentile dice, and within about 30 seconds, he was like, "Oh my gosh, King Hippo!" And he rolled up a hippo or something, and it was interesting because the instant excitement
yeah,
that I could see was just really palpable. He and his wife were both just like dialed into their characters, and he wrote down notes so that when he gets the books, he can make the character. And that's I think that really shows how exciting the generation tables are.
yeah.
Yeah, they're pretty cool. No, it was fun to work on them. I expanded them and I updated them. We added 20 new mutant animals. We announced 10 officially during the Kickstarter, but I couldn't help it. I had to add a few more, and
Fantastic.
went through and did a balancing pass on everything. So and then all the tables are updated with that. So no, it's pretty fantastic. I think people will really enjoy using these books, and even if you're an old school fan, there's a lot of new material here for you
Yeah.
to really sink your teeth into. We didn't want it to be just a simple reprint. We wanted it to be something really special.
Well, I
Both
think
with the
that's
art and the presentation
yeah.
and the update to a refresh of the design language that's in the instruction portions of the game.
Well, and that's what I was going to say. It's not just a simple reprint, and it's not just a hey, we're going to add color and make a premium looking book, which it you did and it is. But
Right.
you went through and you expanded it. You did editing passes, and you one of the things I want to talk with you about is, as you said, you said you cleaned up some of the language, but this is sort of a look at the original Palladium system through kind of a modern design eyes, and nothing has changed. It's just things are better explained, things are condensed, things are more concise and more and easier to understand. I've been using the combat page that you put together in my Palladium Fantasy game, and that has been it's been wonderful to watch the players go, oh, okay, I have everything I need here on one page. I know where it's at. I'm ready to go. So what made you want to say, hey, we could do and it's not even a 1.5 version of the rules. It's still the Palladium system.
Yeah, that's the interesting thing, right? So, so when I went to university after the military, I was in military intelligence in the Air Force, and then when I went back to university, I studied visual design and I got into layout, and then I studied design and production at the University of Texas in Dallas in their arts and technology program, and I actually studied information architecture. Now, it was designed to help you create and produce, to be a producer on, like, say, video games, animated movies, uh, apps, software, right? But I took classes also in, like, computer game level design, user interface for video games. But I also took tabletop game design classes and writing classes with my professor. Had worked very early on with TSR, and has over, I think, 100 tabletop products to his name now, and I think 60 plus video games, including last thing he worked on was Elder Scrolls Online.
Yeah.
So Michael Bro, he has a great book on game design. Go check it out on Amazon.
What's the title of that?
Beault. I can't remember the name right now, but I think it's something like game design or
Okay.
something like that. It's like a textbook that he designed because he's teaching now.
Yeah.
Anyways, the point is I could talk about him forever. He's a fantastic guy. He came up to the Palladium booth this year at Gen Con
Oh,
out of
that's
nowhere. I
awesome.
hadn't seen him in a few years except for on a video call or two, and it was just fantastic to see him. But the point is I was studying information architecture, and there's these natural hierarchies of how we absorb information,
Mhm.
and it's applicable to books too, to tabletop games, not just software and stuff like that. So, one of the big things that I'm really big on, anyone who'll see a book that I've done the layout for, is I'm really big on facing pages to keep as much information on facing pages as possible so that it's not like cut off or you have to go to
Mhm.
the next page or you don't realize there's a next page and you flip it and you're like, oh no, I'm doing it wrong, right? Because there's some of the old Palladium RPGs, for instance, it would say you roll for initiative once per melee. Later on, they updated that to per round. But if you didn't see some later definitions, you would think, oh, that's how initiative works. And so it's interesting. I think it's caused many people to play Palladium different ways.
Mhm.
And this happens to other games. It's not just Palladium. But yeah, design theory has progressed, and um, it's the same core rules. And a lot of it is interesting though because there are things that maybe people have misunderstood for a long time, and or another thing is Palladium was designed to be a very narrative system, and so there weren't really hard and fast rules for movement. And
Mhm.
for instance, talking to Kevin, movement is definitely an action, right? If you play in one of Kevin's games, movement is an action. If you play in one of Kevin's games, usually you roll initiative once, unless something changes up the dynamic of what's happening. So those are things that I built into this new edition, this Redux edition. That's why we call it a Redux. It's meant to be what the original was, just more and better,
Yeah,
kind of
yeah.
like a director's cut or something. And so, yeah, everything is full color, but also um, it's the same core plating mechanics: strike, parry, dodge, roll percentile for your skills, but all explained from a fresh point of view, written for modern gamers. Whether you're a new gamer in the tabletop gaming sphere or you've been playing for 40 years, but there's a lot of things that have over the past 40 years, since 1985 when these books originally came out, that people will read very differently
Mhm.
because the terminology you normally, for instance, in previous editions, it was you want to roll higher than this number. Um, Now, most people are used to you roll equal to or higher. So the number that a game master might say, oh, he rolled a 15. Now you need to roll equal to or higher than, and instead of saying, oh, you roll, whoever rolls highest wins and the defender wins the tie.
Yeah.
You see, and it's the same meaning
Yeah.
if you say you need to roll higher than him, but defender wins ties. And so that's one of the things that's can be tricky about the language, and just trying to make sure that's very consistent. There's a few spots I missed it. We'll add it in an errata to make sure that it's just that kind of language, not that confusing. Roll
Yeah.
higher than, but defender wins ties.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of challenges with stuff like that to make sure it's as crystal clear as possible. But yeah, we put in a lot of effort on that, and we kind of undersold that, I think, when we ran the Kickstarter,
Mm.
and just said, hey, we're going to update this stuff. But I think it's one of the kind of hidden features that a lot
Yeah.
of fans have been really excited about. But, if you were, say, running your game for 40 years, you've been running Palladium, and you had a way that you were handling movement within a melee round, now we have a new way. And so I hope everyone gives it a shot. I know it may not be how you've been running that for so many years. The other thing that's interesting is that you're right. This is kind of the OG Palladium
Yeah.
core combat rules and rules, because in newer editions of Rifts, and
Mhm.
the original Rifts was basically the same, but newer editions of Rifts and other RPGs have slightly varied from that or added two actions
Yeah.
to the base action economy. So this is really a true throwback to that original game. And we felt that was very important to be true to the original release of the Ninja Turtles, but just make sure that the write up for all the rules is as clear as possible.
Yeah. That's awesome. I can't wait. Like I'm very, very excited. I've got to see little pieces of it, and I can't wait to just have the book sit down, read through it, and um,
Yeah, it's a lot, and then it's more than just say the combat section or something that's been
yeah,
updated. I went through every page, every paragraph. We had a guy walk up to our booth, the Palladium booth at Gen Con, and he opened up the book and he went to the character generation tables, and he immediately spotted that I'd updated some of the language, or quite a bit of the language if you look at it. To be very consistent between the different results you can get, because
yeah,
there was a couple of results that he thought were in the original version were unclear what you were supposed to get for your equipment and whether or not the character had stolen it or bought it.
yeah,
And so that should be just hyper clear now. But it's all been a labor of love. We also have fantastic behind the scenes sections in both of the books,
yeah,
as well as we originally announced, I think it was 15 pieces of tribute art. We have, I think, 30 between the two
yeah.
books, 30, 31, 32.
And
Um,
everyone I've talked to who is in there has just been so excited to have been a part of that process.
it was crazy between Sophie Campbell, Freddie Williams, Ciro Nielli. Sophie Campbell did over 150 issues of the IDW TMNT comic,
Yep.
writer and artist, and Freddie Williams II is a very notable TMNT comic book artist. But he started his first gig he ever got was from Kevin Simbita, doing art for Palladium. Ciro Nielli did the 2012 TMNT animated series,
Yeah.
and all three of them encountered turtles, if I remember correctly. I know it's Ciro and Sophie. I think Freddie as well. Their first encounter with the Ninja Turtles was actually the role playing game,
Yeah.
not the comics or
That was
cartoons or
mine.
anything like
Like
that.
I
And
went from the role playing game to the comic because I was like, what is this? What are the the panels that were in there?
see, and I got into it late, right? I didn't get my copy till a couple of years before Rifts came out. So I was a big fan of the cartoons as a kid. And then when my dad's best friend, he gave me the graphic novels, I'm like, whoa, they're violent and
Oh yeah.
cool and gritty. And I'd never seen anything like that. And then a friend of mine gave me the RPG. He traded with me he's like, it's got that art you like. So anyways, it's been really interesting. Last time, did we talk about how we got the license and stuff like
No,
that? I can't
you know what, even
remember.
if we did, let's revisit it because like I was gonna
Yes.
like what are your memories of putting this together? Let's start with that. Like how did you get the license back? How did that all come together?
Yeah. So it was interesting because it's one of the first things I talked to Kevin about, and unbeknownst to me, he and unbeknownst to anybody really, Paramount had approached him, and I think around 2012. Um, Someone at Paramount had approached him, and they just hadn't been able to come to an agreement, and it wasn't good timing for Palladium. Um, and that can be tough because sometimes, especially with these properties, um, they might ask for a big, like over $100,000 down payment,
Yeah.
or there's other vagaries of the contract that just don't work out for a publisher. Um, and I don't know exactly all the details of that, but there was a lot of talk and it ended up happening. And then in 2021, Kevin, at the very beginning of the year, Kevin asked me to be his business partner. And it was right around the time that we did the Atlantis and the Demon Seas Kickstarter for Rifts for Savage Worlds.
Right.
And of course, I couldn't say no. Growing up reading his stuff, and I was originally planning on starting my own company, and so anyways, it was something offer I couldn't pass up, and immediately it was crazy. I mean, I'm only been in the industry for a few years at this point. Immediately treated me as his business partner and as his equal, which I have a lot of respect for, and this is one of the first things we talked about, and so we knew we needed to get some other things done first, and strike at the right time. And one of the challenges we ran into is that there was, I think there was a purchase of Paramount by Viacom
Oh
around
yeah.
that time frame, and so that led to shifting of executives, and suddenly the people that Kevin knew, they're not even there anymore,
Right.
right? Um, and so in after we delivered Titan Robotics, actually before we delivered Titan Robotics, while we were getting it all done and shipped to the fans, we had already reached out to Paramount Publishing and finally figured out who to talk to. You know, not, hey, we're not crazy. We're a real publishing company that's worked on this IP before, and it's kind of funny if you don't know who to talk to. It can be weird to get passed along
Oh yeah.
to the right people. And but no, it took about 9 months to negotiate through the contract, and we're very happy with the results of the terms we got. Paramount has been great to work with, and so at the end of 20 was it 2023, we ran the Kickstarter, and that was very challenging though because the negotiations took a while to come to certain terms, a lot of lawyer type stuff, and so we only had a couple of weeks to prepare before we launched the Kickstarter, and so we needed art for it. We had a lot of artists lined up, but suddenly we needed all the art done, and so that's why if we have fans, we appreciate your patience. The fans that noticed, like the very first day, we didn't have all the dice set, didn't have graphics. You know, some of the other, we didn't have visuals for the miniatures because the sculptors are working on them as fast as they could. We just didn't have anything to show off within that 1.5, 2 week time frame. And so a lot of these things we showed off as soon as we could. But it was very much like a kind of military hurry up and wait kind of thing.
Yeah, 100%.
But you know, the fans were really cool about it, and we had, you know, Kevin Eastman and Peter Laird wanting to be involved in the project. Kevin Eastman was so generous with his time, insisted on painting a cover for the first book, so we ended up doing a variant cover. Sophie Campbell did a variant cover for the second book. For the collector's edition, the foil editions, and these are all Kickstarter exclusives. Kevin Eastman did the lines, and Peter Laird did the inks for those foil covers, which I'm sure you can show off. I have them right here. But it's pretty cool to see those guys working together again. I don't know if you can see that with all the reflection, but yeah, and including having Fugitoid on the cover of the second book, and we were able to do some really cool stuff. I always thought Fugitoid in the comics, the old TMNT comics, where they go trans-dimensional and out into the galaxy, that Fugitoid was a really cool character. So we were able to get permission, because it's a separate intellectual property, to add his stats to the second book, because originally he was pictured in there, but he didn't have statistics. Parai, one of the Foot Clan lieutenants, on par with Shredder in the comics, we added her to the book as well, and Kevin Eastman did a new illustration for her. So, I mean, there's just really cool stuff we were able to add to these books as part of a Kickstarter. Sometimes people say, well, why do a Kickstarter? Because it's a fantastic opportunity for everybody. And it was a fantastic opportunity for the stakeholders to see, wow, fans are really excited about this. And Paramount, Nickelodeon were super cool to work with, and let us add these other characters or IP, even characters, into these books. And so it was a really fantastic experience.
That's awesome.
We did. A lot of it had to be Kickstarter exclusives. So the variant covers, the collectible Mutant Green covers, the turtles. There's dice sets. We worked with Fanroll to do these, and the dice sets that for each turtle, as well as the miniatures. Those are all, and the art print sets are all Kickstarter exclusive, and that's like in our contract. That's not going to change.
Yeah, right.
People are like, "Oh, is it really?" Yeah, it really.
Yeah, no, 100%.
If it wasn't, I wouldn't say that, right? That's like in the contract. Just as is, there are no PDFs for these books.
Right.
They won't be sold on PDF. That's our current contract. Yeah. And so, but we did some really cool stuff. You can get the transdimensional adventures, as well as the TMNT and Other Strangest RPG, in both the standard color versions, and we also have them in black, white, and red.
Those are the ones that are coming to me.
Yeah. These are really cool, and they're the same books, page for page. just the art and the same line art, but it's colorized different. And when you crack it open, it's a totally different feel. It feels like the original comics that it came from, and as opposed to like, I think the color version is a more modern painterly. It's very Palladium, extremely Palladium, but it just has a different vibe, right? So, but we were super excited. The fan reception was off the chain, and so much so that we blasted through our goal in a matter of hours, which it was a hefty goal. It was like $250,000.
Yeah.
And we ended up just having tons of stuff, tons of miniatures, extra miniatures for the miniature set were unlocked, which I was happy for, because since these were Kickstarter exclusive miniature sets, they were kind of pricey, right? It was more like a collector's item. I couldn't price it at the same as, say, like competing with Games Workshop.
Yeah.
But once we got the stretch goals unlocked, I felt like it was a fairly competitive miniature set for the collectors, because we through stretch goals we added a number of miniatures to the good guy and the bad guy, the hero and the villain miniature sets, and they look fantastic. They really like the art straight out of the books. We actually had to put them on extra large bases, like 1.5 inch 2-inch size base, as opposed to like a 1-inch base, because the stances, and to preserve the stances and the posture from the original artwork. So if we do other miniatures that are meant for hardcore like tabletop play in the future, they'll probably have to have a lot more staid poses, but we got to do something really cool with these minis. So we hope everybody really enjoys those.
So for people, we've talked about all the little hidden things that people may not have known about that's in the book. For fans who are like, I'm really excited about this, what would you say is your favorite thing that's in these books, and maybe like the most like a hidden gem that people aren't going to know until they actually like crack it open and see?
Are you talking about like new features, or someone coming new to the TMNT and other strange?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I think the cool thing, like you said, this is a very approachable RPG. The character creation it's not even easy. It's fun. It's actually really exciting to roll up the origins of your characters. Is this like a lab animal? Is this some animal that was in a zoo? Is it from a rural area? I mean, you got all kinds of choices, and we have over 80 animals. And then each animal has all these different ways you can mutate it. So it can be more human-like, or larger, or smaller, or it can have you can basically unlock a lot of the natural abilities of the animals. So there's that's really fun. We also have rules for playing as a team. So if you want to do some or all of your group are mutant animals of the same type that mutated the same way, like the Ninja Turtles, you get bonuses to your shared abilities and skills. But if you do that, you lose some of the variety that you could get from mutant animals, right? But it's neat. There's not just, it's Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and other strangeness. So some of the other strangeness is we added a feral combat style. So if your animal grew up in the wilderness and is just this ferocious battler, and then you've got your other. You've got lots of different types of combat, from assassin training to, what you would get as a military, infantry or something like that, to just basic self-defense type stuff, to ninjutsu, to this feral combat style. So there, or just like if you want to do a standard martial artist that knows, kung fu or taekwondo or something, we also have that. So you can do a lot of cool stuff. And the rules for making skill checks is 1 page.
Yeah.
The rules, if you take out the art for the combat section, the core combat and movement rules is like 1 page, 1.25, right? And then there's a few pages where we go in and define the terms to make sure that they're super clear for everybody. But that's it. There's a few pages where you can go read through how to apply every skill. But that's it. There's the Palladium system is really fun, and we really wanted to make sure that this especially tapped into the roots. I think some of the later edition of Palladium rules, especially where they increase the action economy, add lots more skills, it gets a little more. I don't know if I don't think simulation is the right word, but it does get a little more hardcore. But this is a very like OG Palladium that's like
Yeah.
I think just more approachable than ever. And so whether you're returning to these books, it should feel like the same game because it is the same game.
Right.
Or if you're new to this, though, there's never been a time to get in and try out Palladium than with these rules because they've been updated and streamlined. I wouldn't say I'd say the language has been streamlined, the presentation has been streamlined.
Yeah.
Because it is the same game. And so, yeah, I think, but there's a lot of things that people want these days. And if you got the miniatures or using other Turtles miniatures, now we have rules for movement that you could also use on a tabletop if you want, right? So
Yeah.
we're trying to make sure that that this is approachable by everyone that might pick up these books. And I think a lot of collectors are going to get these books just because of how beautiful they are. Their presentation quality. You can put them on your coffee table or your bookshelf. Yeah. And if someone picks that up, I think it's going to be it's just a fantastic visual feast, right? And it's fun to just read the books. But yeah, the other thing that's really great about these books is they're chock full of adventure material. Yeah. So the first book has the Terror Bears, which are 4 mutant like Ewok-sized bears that have mental powers, and they cause terror in the minds of their victims. There's Doc Farrell, who's obsessed with mutant animals and how they grow and mutating and mutate them, and there's a bunch of really great characters in the core book, as well as Shredder, the Foot Clan, right. Now with Karai, the TCR aliens. The Sparrow Eagles, which is it's basically Eric Rujic's original playtest group. Their characters in the book, Casey Jones, April O'Neil, right. Splinter, all based on the original Mirage comics. So this April O'Neil isn't a news reporter; she's actually a computer scientist because she worked with Baxter Stockman programming the Mousers. Right. So it harkens back to that original, the original characters. But if you get the second book, Transdimensional Adventures, now you can get mutant hominids, mutant dinosaurs, mutant what we call them, like kind of Stone Age creatures, like woolly mammoths and saber-toothed tigers and stuff. Yeah. As well as it has a whole section on building and customizing vehicles, detailed vehicular combat, chases, the Guide to the Galaxy, which has all the aliens from the original comics, and great adventure material in there too. Some of the best stuff, I think, adventure material ever written by Eric Wujic. So, but if with the first book, we also have Turtles Go Hollywood, which is a great introductory adventure. And I did a lot of elbow grease, tightening it up, and also making sure that we have really clear call-outs for the game master. Hey, read this aloud to the players. Hey, if the players do something weird here, here's how you adjudicate the skill rolls. Or, hey, maybe if they have a great idea, you could award some extra experience. Yeah. So it's and the experience rules are very easy. It's a 2-page spread, left and right page. Left page basically explains it. Right page tells you how to give out experience, exactly how many points to give out for different things, and what happens when you level up.
That's awesome.
So it's designed to be as approachable as possible. And I think even if you just get the first book, you're going to have so much material to work with. But the second book has all the things I talked about. Plus, it has time travel, really fantastic time travel rules and encounter tables for different time periods, including into the future.
Yeah.
And it has dimensional travel rules. So kind of like the old Sliders TV show or something, the Quantum Leap. So it's chock full of stuff that when people dig into it, I've seen some early reviews already, and the second book's the one that blows most people's minds the most. So Transdimensional Adventures is a fantastic book, and I'm glad I got to work on it. I'm just be honest. I'm just glad I got
That's
to work on it.
awesome. Well, I'm glad that it's out. And again, thanks for taking time to talk about TMNT and other strangeness. Like it, I'm so excited that it's out. I know you guys are thrilled that it's out and being delivered to
Yes.
backers. And
And
yeah,
I also want to throw out you can go onto the palladiumbooks.com website and also download the official character sheet. If you backed the crowdfunder um, or pre-ordered it through BackerKit, that should have already been sent to you, but you can also download it for free very easily from our website as
awesome.
well.
Well, Sean, thanks again. I always enjoy our chats and looking forward to doing more of these.
Sounds good. Thank you.